theory, actual practice, compiled it into one whole book.
Wow. I think the Liberty movement can learn a lot about that.
Totally. That's why I'm going to videotape it right now.
This is a call for violence, man. That's the agents of disinformation and feds. Anybody that's calling for violence is a fed. Guarantee it.
Totally. I agree with you. That's an important message to fucking get out there.
Anybody that's calling for violence in any movement, action is a fed.
Hi, welcome to this series of videos. In this series of videos, we're going to discuss, well, the end of the world and the potential Technicolor takeover of Might is Right. Now, we'd be naive to assume that all human ambition to power died the moment when Hitler killed himself. Right? There's a part of man that's really good, noble, and that's who I speak to. But there's also a part of man, and I think it's safe to say, we don't know who killed Kennedy. And I'm not necessarily trying to get you guys to believe in conspiracy theories. And for all of you viewers who do believe in conspiracy theories, hold on, because further down the line in these videos, I'm going to explain an epiphany I had about conspiracy theories, and let's just assume they're true, as if we're astronaut trainees training in a flight simulator. We'll assume it's true, and then figure out possible responses. Now, getting back to the subject at hand, this is really a test video. I haven't made any of these videos yet, but this is the first one, and yeah, it may come out a little botched. I may be going from here to there, meandering from subject to subject, but I'd like to really disseminate this book here by Gene Sharp. It's in 3 volumes. It's called The Dynamics of Nonviolent Action. Now, if we ever find ourselves in a situation as a human race where there are postgraduate group minds that are real fucking smart, that are planning on something nefarious, and again, we'd be naive to assume that all nefarious ambition died the moment Hitler killed himself. To the contrary, there's probably, I mean, look at your own experience of man, and you probably would agree with me that man has the capacity to scheme behind the scenes, Machiavelli style, Machiavellian-like schemes from behind the scenes to get what they want. Forget about what they want for right now. That's a whole other topic for another video. But let's just say that, you know, there's not really a conspiracy in this day and age. Like the chemtrails I see going across the sky, maybe they've always been there. Maybe that's just what happens when autumn comes around. I heard from one person, and it gets cold up there. It's always cold up there. Maybe the jets, you know, our government like ordered jets to fly not on jet fuel, but on like old McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's French fry grease, and that's why the chemtrail goes from this side of the sky to this side of the sky, and then 20 of them in a day after an hour create a soupy fog that clouds the sky up. I don't know. Maybe it's just natural. But if it ain't natural, and if any time in the future, maybe a century from now, 10,000 years from now, it doesn't matter. For all time, if there's ever some nefarious group of people that want to take over, and you find yourself in an ultra-postmodern realm where those people, if they exist, and probably do, have the means and some cunning, ultra-technological ways of carrying out their will. This book that I found randomly in 1994 in Lake Placid seems to sum up like the most effective techniques by which to fight any evil cocksuckers in the future. It's called The Dynamics of Nonviolent Action. In the next couple videos, I'd like to read a couple paragraphs because I think the information should be disseminated across the internet, potentially going viral before it can possibly be stopped. Because if there are people that are trying to censor our ability to be free and they're closing the gap and trying to get us into checkmate, this information needs to be known, and we need to get it out there before they can stop it, baby. I'm here with Donovan...
Commander Salamander. That was my first email address.
Commander Salamander.
Yeah.
Do you believe in the Constitution of the United States?
I took an oath to defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic, when I joined the United States Navy in 1981.
And you pledged allegiance. You could probably say it. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
I actually...
No, I'll do one line, you do the next. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America. Well, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
I can't do
and
it.
to the republic for which it stands,
Republic.
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow.
So, basically, you might be of a like mind with me that, like, the freedoms that we enjoy here are a good thing, and that anything that would ever want to scheme to take away the freedoms would be a repugnant thing that we would have to think about. And if they, just for the sake of argument, if there are repugnant entities with corrupt wills to take that freedom away that has taken mankind millennia, to take away what we walk around with a chip on our shoulder and a badge on our sleeve, America, the greatest country on earth. Well, how come everybody thinks that? Like, fucking, because of that freedom. Like, you come here and, like, you can do what you want. If there's people that want to take that away, don't you think it would be necessary to think through, especially if they were on a government level and had many nefarious postgraduate group thinkers that had actually gotten together at a round table time and time again to, like, use all their collective expertise to shoot the ideas together on how to do it, and now it was well in progress, it would be of grave import for the preservation of freedom on the planet Earth floating through outer space if people like us all around the world started thinking about what might be their agenda and what might be the ways to counteract it.
Well, it's really simple. Margaret Sanger was a founder of eugenics, and Hitler wasn't the first one about the Aryan race and the pure white race.
Okay, let's keep on topic. Keep talking. I have to find my sunglasses.
What Margaret Sanger believes that we had to kill certain, and she called, well, anyways, Margaret Sanger. And
well, listen. Let's stick to the basics, but you've given us something good. There's some fucking moonbat who actually, you know, with whatever education she had, tried to fucking validate her idea that people had to be killed.
Yes.
Now, that flies in the face of, I think it's the Declaration of Independence that says all human beings are endowed with the right by their Creator to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
And we have slaves.
But
nobody's perfect.
if she was in America and she had this idea that...
She was.
An idea that people should be sacrificed. In her theory, people needed to be killed. That's a violation of somebody's human rights. So right off the bat, okay,
Yeah.
no, can't do it.
Well, this is back in the 1920s. And
But wait. Do you think it's possible that there are groups of people that do believe that millions are disposable in the acquisition of whatever end they're seeking?
Absolutely. The Rockefellers are in Rothschilds and
What might
Carnegie
be their agenda?
and-
What might be that agenda?
Well, the eugenicists feel that there's too many people on Earth
There probably is.
to use the natural resources that are available.
That's a good point.
To sustain the population, and they feel that there's too many quote unquote useless eaters on Earth. Basically, poor, disabled, anybody that's middle class, working class, and even some upper class people that are not worthy to be on the planet.
So what do they propose to do? Supposedly they must be useful people on the Earth.
Well, they're University of Texas
What do
professor.
they plan to do?
Well, they soft kill weapons like vaccines that have cancer viruses in them, and the
What's their ultimate end?
Pardon?
What's their ultimate end? Sorry to interrupt you.
To eliminate 90% of the human race, and so they can have a slave class and to do all the menial work for them, and so
basically,
they can enjoy the world for themselves.
That's how the world was when we first came out of the trees, right? Like fucking ancient civilizations, it was like the ruler had his way and you were slaves. And there's probably 1 trillion slaves throughout the millennia that were born in that, but slowly we came across ancient Greece where historically we see that like at least the adult men were free, and then we went through the Dark Ages and then arrived at the Middle Ages and the fucking Renaissance and the Enlightenment, where people like started to feel like really fucking excited about the rights of man, to the point where the Magna Carta was put out there, the Universal Declaration of the Rights of Man, the Declaration of Independence, the French Constitution, the Canadian Constitution, the American Constitution, all documents influenced by the idea that all human beings are created equal and all are equal. So now you're saying these people have figured out that there's too many like fucking useless eaters, and they want to implement like fucking them being in control again. Doesn't that sound like we're moving backwards?
Well,
doesn't it sound like fucking like you can trace the slow, long-suffering path of equality for all throughout the eons of recorded history, arriving quite recently in theory that all men are created free and equal. And that's part of the reason why we United States citizens walk around saying, oh, we're the greatest country on earth. It's because of that idea that like all men are created equal, right? You can see the evolution from caveman to like, you know, like fucking ancient Babylon, Sumeria, fucking
Rome, Greece,
Indus, fucking civilization,
yeah.
Rome, Greece,
China,
fucking Europe through the Dark Ages and
Egyptian.
Middle Ages, like fucking throughout the ages we see a slow but discernible like fucking equality for all coming into actualization. So for these people to do what they're doing or say what they're saying, if it's true, it's almost like they're taking us right back to where we started, and like we can't have that, can we? Like if there's some person engineering to eliminate 90% of the world population so that they can like inherit the earth and have slave classes do their work for them. Sounds like we're going right back to the beginning, right?
Well, I would just say that all you got to do is Google New World Order, and you will the white papers, declassified documents, Northcom, everything you want to know. Thousands, tens of thousands of documents, public information, mainstream media. It's not a secret. There ain't no secrets here. There ain't no conspiracy theories.
Okay, so
they're right in your face.
Now what we need to do, especially, we're going to outro with this, and we're going to intro this with the next video. If this is true, what do freedom lovers need to do across the planet? Like, we need to envision every possible scenario that we might be getting ourselves checkmated into, and how to counteract that in the most scientific martial arts type of way possible. As if people that love freedom and see crooked shit all around them, at some point, probably now, need to like act like NASA astronaut trainees in a flight simulator. That was one of my epiphanies a couple months ago. Like, if we imagine, like, they go through scenarios that are like fucking endlessly, all day, endlessly, to be able to master, however unlikely, in case that shit's happening. So In the next video, we're going to imagine we're not NASA astronaut trainees, but we're freedom preservation trainees. And what we gotta do is go endlessly through every fucking scenario, no matter how unlikely, and then come up with a reaction to it and how to respond if it turns out to be true.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'd like to dedicate this next song maybe to a soldier in the army. Humping Batavia Downs Casino. Thinking about his old lady that dreams about it. But look. Oh God. That's what the problems come from sometimes. I mean, the cat's really scared, and that's why they call girls groupies, and they call passive buttering and Igloo albums anything but Yanni Pomegranate Siamese twin polar face piss slit on the wiener tree of a heavenly freaking ZZ Top peas, potato, buck, bivner. And so they're fucking not in love, man. That's what's happening. And that's what I want to dedicate this next song to. And don't you ever forget it, man. Or you'll be in trouble with not only Buck Bivnin Bivnington, the real Buck Bivtin, but Stuhler and Stanzel as well. The Berenstein Bears are a bunch of no good, double dealing pieces of freaking foul. The song. One time there was a hot rockin' posse of Oompa Loompas wielding lead pipes on a reel on strike from one guy. That cocksucker fucked them morally. Man, one Oompa Loompa in particular. His name was Katinka. Been organ va 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 va. He had an uncle who knew someone who knew Jack Hanna, who had a friend who knew someone who knew Chuck Negron, formerly of Three Dog Night. And they enlisted his celebrity to garner publicity for the cause. He was at the head of a procession of disgruntled black-clad Oompa Loompas wielding lead pipes. Very fucking ornery. They said, Wonka, this is bullcrap. We demand our rights. We will no longer, henceforth, dredge cynically challenged children out of the chocolate river anymore without special bonus pay. And with a complete nihilistic, entitled higher than the rest of the world, materialistic, nihilistic, atheistic, rich man's complete lack of concern on any level whatsoever for his employees. He looked down from the Wonka factory in spite and said, I will never bow down or surrender or concede in any way, shape, or goddamn form to these Oompa Loompa peasants. Chuck Negron. They can get Mean Gene cocksucking Okerlund too. This time it's another being. They can materialize fictional characters out of thin air to this celebrity garnish. I don't care if they get Sally Struthers. I will never surrender. Never! Oh yeah, video viewers, we're gonna pause in this song while I just announced to the neighbors that please don't be scared. We're just filming a song for a video for a series that's one day going to be on the Showtime channel. So then, they got to the front gate of the Wonka factory in downtown Rochester. And while Wonka was looking down, paranoid from being on a bender of epic proportions with some stuff they don't tell you about in the Star Wars Phantasmin. And the situation of this situation was so grievously unjust and untrue that Chewbacca, a fictional character, materialized over the skies of Rochester, flopped out of the Millennium Falcon, landed at the front gate, made child play at the front gate. But then Wonka took off in his floating elevator. Oh hey, thank you to Breeze and ruining the shot. We'll try again some other time. We have a unnamed photographer of some famous renown that just walked in and interrupted my fucking YouTube dumbest video of all time, peoples. / Charlie Sheen, please come see Jonelle and I. We're going to start a new golden age on Earth. It's called Read My Lips, Your Mother Hubbard fucking a pinata. So anyhow, back to Wonka taking off in his floating elevator, man. Well, he shouldn't have done that, because remember Chuck Negron, formerly of Three Dog Night, at the head of the procession of striking Oompa Loompas, got up to the bullhorn and said, Wonka, I don't think you listened too closely to my most famous hit number. You know I love the ladies. I love to have my fun. I'm a straight shooting son of a gun. And then all of a sudden, a giant gun with feet, a 6-foot gun walking behind the procession. It was Chuck Negron's dad. It was a gun. Shot up at the elevator and hit it, and Wonka came tumbling down, man, and he shit his pants, because Chewbacca didn't even exist until he was there. And the Oompa Loompas, normally very polite individual beings of majoritical size and structure, man, they were wielding lead pipes in unauthorized, unapproved, unpermitted street procession, wielding pipes with the complete emotional, off the crazy train rails, man, of being willing to commit wanton acts of pipe wielding, Oompa Loompa scabs, not forming a union. Written a long time ago by T.C. Brunzi. It's called Jacob's Ladder. So anyhow, Wonka had another trick up his sleeve. It was an anti-gravity button. All of a sudden, Keith Partridge started floating in the air. All the silverware of every diner on the planet started floating in the air. Couples entwined in sexual congress the world over were floating in the air. Lake Ontario started floating in the fucking air. Little babies started floating in the air, at which point the Oompa Loompas also floating in the air. A duck named Eddie. They said to Wonka, please, we give up the struggle. Let the babies float back down safely. We surrender. And Wonka said, yeah. And they said, yes, please. It's not worth it. We must not sacrifice the innocent. Wonka said, good. Don't you ever fuck with Wonka. And at this point, the being known as Jesus' Father, what some may call the omniscient void, the eternal unmanifest, the unknowable of unknowables, the beyond all beyonds, was so sick of our human ways. That was it, man. This was the final straw. And he made something happen, by which being began to unravel into nothingness. In the space of about 4 minutes, all of a sudden there was nothing. Not even a song of this one. There's just nothing for a Googleplex, 100 trillion octillion Googleplexes of trillions of billions of millennia upon epochs of nothing. Of nothing. But then he kind of like, well, okay, well, screw it. It's been a while now. There's no other way to spend immortality and consciousness except to fill it out with stuff, so let's go to the next stage of forever. And he made being lapse back in from nothingness, right where I had originally left off. Everybody was like, whoa! Even that duck named Eddie, who was about to tell Chewbacca to Aflac himself. But instead, as everybody came back into being, they remembered that this was also Super Bowl Sunday 2017. And they had only been able to garner the celebrity of Maroon 5 at this point because Tom Petty had already done 2 retrospectives. They were moving down the list. And it was the Super Bowl halftime show later that day, man. When everybody trying to fucking forget that an infinity had elapsed, only somehow it was in the space of a millisecond. So as Maroon 5 went to take the ad at center stage for the halftime show, a strange-looking Land O'Lakes logo cartoon pinata of Marie Mastrodonato pinatas freaking descended from the sky. The Land O'Lakes butter she was holding came up, that butter can came up, that one came up, that one came up. And out stepped Jesus Christ with blue skin, with cool hair, aka circa David Gilmour in the Live at Pompeii video, with blue skin and pupils completely black, like he was an enlightened man. And he stepped up to the microphone and everyone was in awe and wonder, man. Freaking 5-star generals the world over. Everything stopped, they were fainting. The people that knew they were destroying the world with their false flag, massive kill billions of people plan were like, we're in big freaking trouble, man. Holy crap. That looks like that's Jesus Christ. And he got up to the microphone. Maroon 5 could have cared less. They were pissed that they weren't going to be able to play their retrospective litany of hits at the Super Bowl. Can you imagine? So anyhow, Jesus Christ got up to the microphone and said hello. Turns out it's all true. I had to save my water into wine ability to make mind-bending humor, baby, like, till now, because I didn't want to be perceived as a joke then. But it looks like a lot of you secret grassy little batsmen. Yeah, you thought it was a joke, huh? There's no life after death. It's just your Luciferian lies and magic and wizardry and power and skill. And Martha Plimpton is where the problems come from sometimes, isn't it? He said there's no way you're ever gonna figure out how being began and how it's infinite. But there is good news.
I saved a load of money by switching my insurance to Geico. Well, let's read what it says first. Notice the imagery, Constitution, like put through a paper shredder. What is that called? I think I'm vaguely acquainted with it. Positioning, or putting something sacred with something profane. Rich Stengel's suck job. He's the editor of Time magazine. He's the one that wrote the Does It Still Matter? So, you know, this out of a pile of 20 Time magazines a couple months ago caught my attention. It's something I would want to read. One document, Under Siege. Here are a few things the framers didn't know about World War II, DNA, sexting, aeroplanes, the atom, television, Medicare, collateralized debt obligations, the germ theory of disease, miniskirts. Does it matter? Does it still matter? The internal combustion engine, computers, antibiotics, Lady Gaga. People on the right and left constantly ask what the framers would say about some event that is happening today. What would the framers say about whether the drones over Libya constitute a violation of Article 1, Section 8, which gives Congress the power to declare war? Well, since George Washington didn't even dream that man could fly, much less use global positioning satellite to aim a missile, it's hard to say. Now, see right off the bat, it's hard to say what he would think because he never even dreamt that man could fly or use global positioning satellite to aim a missile. That's why it's hard to say what he would think. What would the framers say about whether attacks on people who did not buy health insurance is an abuse of Congress's authority under the Commerce Clause? Well, because James Madison did not know what health insurance was, and doctors back then still used leeches, it's because he didn't know what health insurance was, and it's because doctors used leeches back then, which is why it's difficult to know what he would say. And what would Thomas Jefferson, a man who owned slaves and is believed to have fathered children with at least one of them, think about a half-white, half-black American president born in Hawaii, a state that did not exist? Because Hawaii was just an island, not the 50th state, back when Thomas Jefferson wrote, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights." Because it's reputed, I heard the dude had definitely some slave descendants. That's why they call it the Brown House. Check it out. Anyhow, it's because Hawaii was just an island and not the 50th state in the Union when Thomas Jefferson wrote all the eloquent, fucking awesome shit, historical shit, that we can't say what he would think of a mixed-race president. This guy is fucking great. How did he get to be the editor of Time magazine? The framers were not gods. Thank you for informing me of that. And were not infallible. Yes, they gave us and the world a blueprint for the protection of democratic freedoms. Freedom of speech, assembly, religion, but they also gave us the idea that a black person was 3/5 of a human being, that women were not allowed to vote, and that South Dakota should have the same number of senators as California. my parentheses here, all of which has been addressed with the appropriate amendments and provisions with regard to that one Senate and House of Representatives deal. So like this guy, for the 10th annual history issue, Time magazine. We the People, Does It Still Matter? In a Paper Shredder. By Richard Stengel, editor. Right off the bat, this is like, are you fucking kidding the shit out of me? This has gotta be a suck job paid for by people that are just meant to confuse people. So I'm here to try to unconfuse me, at least, before, I definitely can't escape the lack of confusion that it's 9:59 a.m. and I had to jump in the shower and catch the bus to work, because I stayed up all night. And I don't know how far into this I can get, people, but this is really the kind of stuff that drives you up a wall, like when you used to call the bus line RTS for the next available bus, and it's like, for the next available bus, press 1. Leaving the city, press 1. Going towards the city, press 2. Please enter the number of the route, followed by the pound key. For the next available bus, press 1. There's a bus coming near Elmwood and Mount Ames, press 1. For the stop by Elmwood and Albacore Avenue, press 2. Now I dare any of you now. It's like the history of the universe and its jumps in mind and development seem to go on a dialectically forward path until just recently. What are we seeing here, people? I could be wrong, I could be a nut, I could be an astrolope, but I don't know. I mean, we may go over pretty well. Anyhow, getting back on the topic before I have to get off of my knees and go take a shower and get ready for work so I look like a freak in the emergency room, because I think about this stuff all the time. Similarly to how, like, it used to be a simple 2-minute process to call the RTS phone line. Now I defy anybody to call the RTS line now. It is a voice interactive 42 minutes before you realize you still haven't gotten your bus information. Exercise in why. Just like when you go to the dollar store and you buy $1 plus tax can opener, it will make maybe one perforation into the tin of the tuna can, but then will never ever open one single can. What's the point? And there's a lot of that weirdness in the world, and I'm just itemizing it because, like, it just popped in my head to itemize it. The cans, the bus line, fucking voicemail used to be to send the message, press 1. To review it, press 2. To re-record it, press 3. Now it's like, for directions in Spanish while talking to a Rubik's Cube named press pound 09. To go back into the left, press 1. To get the sum of 1 and 1 equals, press 7 dot, followed by the commensurate numbers, which also may or may not, but definitely do spell out the name Dottie West, followed by the pound key. For these directions in Spanish, press Spanish. For in verse, press once. If you're codependent, have someone else hit the numbers. If you're schizophrenic, hit 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If you're paranoid, hit 17 and stay in the line. Everybody's coming to get you, motherfucker. Alright, anyhow. You got the can openers that don't work. What's the point? The bus line thing, and maybe I'll call it someday. And this fucking article, man. Does it still matter? The U.S. Constitution. And so far, everything the fucker said is a suck job. Let me just stop this in case it doesn't record properly. Or my name is Orville Redenbacher. Alright, it's now 10:16 a.m. I got about fucking 20 minutes to jump in the shower, scrub my dirty ass, and hightail it to work, or get a taxi for a lot of money, which I should be saving for fake Malcolm X glasses, which I love. Getting back to the suck job of an article by Suck Job, and I wouldn't be so, like, mean with somebody I don't really know. It is true that if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all, but this guy is out of control. Our 10th annual history issue, time. The editor is one Richard Stengel. And the cover article obviously shows the venerable beginning, the preamble, is it, to the Constitution, with the headline, "Does it still matter?" And then at the bottom, a little bit of like fucking mixing of things. Let's shove it through a paper shredder. You're like, wow, what's this article going to be about? One document under siege. Now here's the full thing completely shredded next to disgusting dog shit gold hue and like one document under siege by World War II DNA, sexting airplanes, the atom, television, Medicare, collateralized debt obligations, the germ theory of disease, miniskirts, the internal combustion engine poses a big threat to fucking, like, paper shredders, antibiotics, Lady Gaga. People on the right and left constantly ask what the framers would say. And I won't be so mean, but I mean, lots of people are interested and worried about America, the world, the 21st century. So, I mean, I pulled this out of a fucking stack of like 37 Time magazines to read on my lunch break at the emergency room, where I see people die, and I see crazy people, and I see superficial people, and I see nice people, and I see kind-hearted people, and I see lonely people, I see sad people, I see screaming, grieving next of kin. I think about America, I look at the chemtrails outside, I'm like, Jesus, man, what the fuck's going on? I turn on the TV, it's all bullshit. I turn on the radio, there hasn't been a hit song since, like, fucking ever. You go back 20 years in the Billboard Top 20, and every one of those is a memorable hit. Please let me know if this ain't love, you better let... You know what I mean? That was like, what, number 32 top hit back then, and now you turn on 98PXY, and I guarantee you 5 to 7 times in 1 hour is a song, different songs that have the dun 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 ba dun bum ba bum ba da dun 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 ba dun 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 dun, or if you rearrange that chord pattern, dun 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 dun. 5 to 7, and you can test this. Like 4, like I don't know how many songs they play an hour, but 40 to 70 to 80% of any given set of songs in any given hour played on 98PXY, the top 40 hit radio station, all have that bum 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 ba dun 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 ba dun 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 dun, that U2 with or without you chord pattern. And sometimes they turn it around so it's like, I can't think of it now, but you figure it out. I mean, that's fucked up. I mean, it all sucks. None of it, like fucking anthropologists, extraterrestrial people combing through our ashes like eons from now, would find of any interest. They'd fucking definitely get into, at last my love has come along. Not, and I just a feeling, I get a bit out of, you know, leave. Will I feel a little, suffocated with that? Nothing of memorable substance. Like a dollar can opener from a fucking dollar store that has never or will never open a can ever. And I'll bet a whole paycheck to any one of you that can go to a dollar store and honest to godly buy a dollar can opener, get a can of tuna or a can of Campbell's soup, and make your incision, make the twist, and open one can. In fact, make more than 2 or 3 cuts. And so, in keeping with that, like, I'm sucked into this, I'm thinking about all this stuff, I care about the world and shit. So I'm reading this article, I'm like, okay, kind of like, what's this guy on with this fucking stupid article? Then he's like, let's just get to the nitty-gritty, because I'm going to be fucking late for work. So, are we in a constitutional crisis, he asks. In a word, no, he answers. So he's informed us, thanks Rich, that we're not in a constitutional crisis, but then follows with this sentence: the Constitution was born in the crisis. So, Rich, does that mean that it will always perennially be in a state of crisis, which would contradict, in a word, your answer of no to the question, are we in a constitutional crisis? If it was born in constitutional crisis, and the unaddressed question of whether or not, like, since it was born in crisis, as you say, you also know about what George Washington never dreamed of. It was written in secret and in violation of the existing one, the Articles of Confederation, at a time when no one knew whether America would survive. Fine. The Constitution has never not been under threat. Okay. Is crisis synonymous with the word threat here? Like, because kind of just snuck in that word threat instead of crisis. Is it just that you don't want to use the word crisis a third time because you're like a top shelf editor of a fucking A-list big time Magarag, zine, Inuit hologram, toaster oven, Mother Teresa Pop-Tart, in Cuba for the Pop-Tart, UFOs. Did you believe in dinosaurs? Yeah, you're a fucking idiot. God put those there to fuck with you. Alright, I don't even have time to fucking finish this, man. It gets so bad, man. I'm sorry, but this is, like, it's blasphemy. It's traitorous. This article is ignominious. I wish I had time right now. Maybe when I get out of the shower, because, I'm finding it too unresistible to get fucking weird on you, man. And you know, when I get weird, we can't talk about the Constitution. We gotta talk about marshmallow Sudoku numbers unsolving themselves by menin and ninjas with Chewbacca tits. Good. Ninjas with no tits. Bad. Random nonsense on a comb, or my name isn't Orville Redenbacher when I be making like a one-winged dove singing a song that sounds like it's singing good. Cognitive dissonance? Bad. Alright, people, thanks for putting up with me.
Remember Americans is that these people, I'm getting the sense that they have the audacity, the presumptuousness to take for granted the fact that they've been authoritative, telling us we can't buy homegrown in the land of food, don't tread on me. These people have no high ground, morally speaking. This is America. The forefathers drafted the Declaration of Independence, kind of because of similar reasons. I don't know if anybody has watched my videos that I've posted
which is completely unconstitutional and null and void by natural law, by the spirit of the forefathers, by the Constitution, by the Declaration of Independence. Says, Executive Order 11,000, that in an emergency, the criterion of this emergency to be determined by who, like the same people that suck and have no moral authority over us, and we can choose to withdraw our compliance at any point. And if we truly into America, and tomorrow's the 4th of July, look up Executive Order 11,000. In this time of emergency, who knows who gets to declare what is an emergency to such a grievous degree that they can implement this Executive Order 11,000. Without further ado, gives the government the right to mobilize civilians into work brigades. Ain't happening. And, what was I gonna say? I always get this red light syndrome. Plus, I'm a Funhouse yoga inventor / first training in that long silence. Just starting to get weird. Look, you need to look at these people that pass these laws who try to come down with an air of they have the authority and they know best and you're going to obey. They don't have any such authority. And we can withdraw our compliance to that authority. Like, okay, let's say, God forbid, and I thought about this at night, that some jihad or a false flag or combination of the two, there's like a nuclear attack suddenly on a Wednesday morning, and like 6 cities are obliterated in one morning. They're just like, okay, sudden breakdown of infrastructure. The grocer can't get the food or the beer had before the holidays to the corner store. The tankers can't get the gasoline to the gas stations in like 3 to 4 or 5 days. All the hundreds of thousands, millions of people clustered around metropolitan areas. Within days, if they haven't seen it coming and prepared, are suddenly in less than a week, including the fact that everybody out in the street is still here is gonna have no food in one day, and has no money, has no gas, and no prospects of finding it anytime soon, and the hunger is a bitch. Everybody on that street, effed with no food, no money. By the 6th day, I'm sorry, when I thought of this before I landed on that, I set a prayer on the Imperial Party, which is mortal union, sensory-based. Doesn't know for sure what's beyond death. Doesn't know if there's a God. I mean, the faith part, knows if there's a God for sure. Because of the nature of love, man, that's what's happening. But laying awake at night, visualizing perfectly feasible prospects, because we've got excited about it, that something like this would happen suddenly someday. And it falls like a megadeth within a week. No law enforcement, National Guard, or Army would be able to control the starvation and chaos. Then they'd probably be able to declare martial law and make an example of any militias. Like 6 months later, when they finally implement order, because because on the infrastructure of the amount of oil, food that shipped into the metropolitan areas that we take for granted because of 100 years of easy available oil suddenly become unavailable because of a incendiary event that happens with such swift suddenness that it catches everyone by surprise except the people that are like out the door and on their way into the remote Canadian, like Yukon, or any place like remote away from the masses that are going to be starving, knows has the wherewithal to live procuring their own food and energy needs, potable water and arable land. Anyhow, laying awake at night thinking about this awful event. Can you feel it coming down? Anyhow, getting back to the story, I'll eventually get this all wrote about because I'm not only the head of the club, well, I'm also the dude with 2 quarters. That's not even enough to call a one person that cares anymore. You know, like, alright. We have to withdraw our compliance. TV, cell phone, electronic compliance. Man, what there's one of those supercomputers. NSA. It's way more powerful. You say something like one good they have programs to do something. But if the back end of something like that, panels, listed for examination and as per the carrying out protocol 4917. That's right. When I'm wide awake, laid awake, pain awake.
I'm John Robert Maloney, here in my room at the Armed Forces Retirement Home in Gulfport, Mississippi. This is a declaration that has been making the rounds on the internet. I don't know who wrote it, or just where it originated, but it's rather important. Read it. A declaration of civil war. Whereas, on Wednesday, 14 December 2011, the House of Representatives of the United States of America voted in the form of the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2012 in favor of indefinite military detention without charges of citizens of the United States of America on United States soil without due process of law at the discretion of the government alone. Whereas, on Thursday, 15 December 2011, the Senate of these United States of America voted in favor of the same bill. Whereas, on Saturday, 31 December 2011, the President of the United States of America signed the same bill into law. Whereas, the prescription against the use of military force to police the populace has been an essential feature of American civic life and civic liberty since the arrival of our civilization upon this continent. Whereas, the wanton violation of this prescription was one of the chief causes of the separation of the American people from their government in Great Britain. Whereas, our divinely inspired Constitution of the United States of America, so chartering the government of these United States of America in Section 3 of Article 3, states that, quote, no person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of 2 witnesses to the same overt act or on confession in open court, close quote. Whereas our divinely inspired Constitution of the United States of America, so chartering the government of these United States of America, in Amendment 5, states that no person shall be, quote, deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, unquote. Whereas the House of Representatives...
And you'd think, you know, I got about 8 miles down that fucking ponderous, endless, it's gotta be longer than the Bible, like, word-wise, NDNAA. Scroll down, man, there's provisions all at the top about who gets dogs that were in the field of battle, whose masters in the field of battle were, like, stricken down, the protocol for who gets adoption priority, you know, about a quarter of a mile below that, a whole huge section on freaking the priority, who gets first dibs on travel vouchers, and then, you know, like, that little, like, nugget that says, in nebulous language, if you're considered a threat to national security. Now, you'd think that, like, fucking something so, like, valued universally across the nation, traditionally, like the right to due process, one of the basic bills of rights, guaranteed, self-evident, unalienable, like guaranteed freedoms, bestowed by us from the Creator, not from any feeling stingy this like historical epoch and feeling generous the next. You'd think that something so intense as important and historical as the fucking Fifth Amendment, is it? Due process, indefinite detention, wouldn't be caked under 8 miles of like provisions for like travel fucking vouchers. Do you know what I mean? And it's like right under our fucking faces, people. Like fucking, You know, not for nothing, now, like, fucking, Google can do all this bullshit, like, freaking track your privacy and, like, send you text, whatever, man. I heard a bunch of bullcrap yesterday on the Idiot Box about it, like, freaking, right off the bat, man, like, fucking, what is it, SOPA? Everybody got really upset on, Facebook, like, all my friends and acquaintances, like, nobody seemed to bat an eyelash every time I put, like, freaking, do you realize that Executive Order 11,000 says that we can be, like, mobilized into work brigades under government supervision? Hello? Like, forget about this New Year's Day one. No one really got upset about that, like, or the fact that freaking the NDAA, National Defense 2012 Authorization Act, cakes, like, in vague, nebulous, like, terminology, who will be a threat to national security. The people that are threats to national security are the treasonous traitors that pen that in there under 8 miles of, like, who gets, like, freaking Benji from Afghanistan, whose dear, like, fucking, like, fallen soldier was gunned down, and, like, his family gets first adoption rights or something. You know, not for nothing, I applaud that shit, but, like, fucking annulling one of the Bills of Rights, one of the Bill of Rights, under 8 miles of who gets to travel fucking voucher, like, in vague language. Now, who gets to define that? I do. Like, there are whoever put that little thing in there, and I could find it later, but, like, I'm not really talking focusedly. Nobody seemed to get up in arms, like, when I was like, look at this, executive orders from hell. Executive Order 11,000. The government can mobilize civilians into work brigades in an emergency. Hello? But then, like, everybody's all up in arms about the SOPA Act. Like, fucking, not for nothing, I'm down with, like, fucking, throwing down the gauntlet, like, fucking drawing a line in the sand and being like, no, you've already gone way too far, and you will not pass that, or you will meet popular revolt. And by revolt, I mean, for me personally, at this point, Gene Sharp, Gandhi's, Martin Luther King Jr.'s techniques of non-violent withdrawal of compliance against unjust rule, the threat to national security, the threat to the United States of America, that Thomas Jefferson is not just, like, trying to dig out of his grave, roll over. He's, like, fucking punching the soil, like, fucking flipping out, trying to shake one of you people, like SOPA, like, under the banner of protecting intellectual property, copyright infringement, passed, and everybody got all up in arms on Facebook. But does anybody ever read the fine print at Facebook that, like, stipulates that any intellectual property that you may have created that you post on Facebook, by clicking agree, you give them supposedly the right, in complete bad faith, to use any or all part of your works and never compensate you, and always have rights into the eternal future over anything that you post that's yours, that you created. That's fucking hilarious, man. Anyhow, this is another freaking meandering, off the topic fucking video. Why, Buddha? What a fucking coincidence, man. Like, really trying in earnest to finish up Volume 1 of Paramedica Souls, mostly which has been, like, fucking, like, polished like a fucking savior of the universe, loser turd for, like, over a decade. But kind of stumped on how to lead from the title Paramedic of Souls, Volume 1, Maitreya Mac. the concept of paramedic or emergency medical services, emergency work. Some fucking really focusing all today, yesterday, like freaking, where's that coat of mine? I'm on the bus last night. Freaking, what was it, February 1st, 2012. Thinking about my old lady that dreams of Batavia Downs Casino. But after I got done, like, watching my own movie, Weird Chicken Sunshine, on the bus, after the battery died, I couldn't just sit there and do nothing, because I was a little, like, excited. So I started jotting notes down. Paramedic of Souls Volume 1, with a view towards, like, tying in the title with how the whole system of philosophy, and it's not philosophy, it's ethic, it's like it's what you are going to agree with, if you believe in God. Introduction. Emergency medical protocols. Expedient, tried and true methods. You are trained to respond to emergencies. You get a call and jump into action as quick as possible. As the black girls are laughing in the back seat, I'm trying to keep on going in the middle seat, looking like a dork. Anyhow, I was writing that last night, and so just now, man, I pull out, like, I was gonna read The Politics of Nonviolent Action by Gene Sharp, and I'm like, where the heck is that notebook I wrote in, like, the weekend that my grandmother died? Because that's got, like, a lot of stuff pertaining to this, the casus belli, the catcall warning to the Second American Revolution. Anyhow, I'm, like, trying to tie in Paramedic of Souls, this, that, the other thing, when I find my original 1997, spring of 97, like, notebook for my first EMT class way back then. Filling out PCRs. Subjective. So I'm like, holy shit, dude. Fuck me with a fucking, like, a Ted Nugent size fucking... Subjective, objective, assessment, plan, implementation, evaluation. Assess the scene, freaking airway, breathing, circulation, disability, the cups determination. They still do that. The fucking level of consciousness. Do they know where they are? Is their breathing, is their airway obstructed? Are they breathing? Do they have a pulse? I mean, these are methods that just, there's no way around it. It's like the tried and true, expedient way to salvage, if possible, emergency situations. And everybody who knows emergency work knows that's true, and there's just no getting around it. So, between the spring of 97, failing the practical exam in June of 97, crying my eyeballs out, and then taking the whole original class, not the refresher, again in the fall of 1997, subsequently passing my practical exam, and actually going out into the field. I think the first time I went out as a volunteer around the Coit ambulance EMT was like to a call in the gully just before the Irondequoit Bay Bridge starts, and this chick was like passed out in her car. Got out the van, and like there was just a space for me to walk into and like kind of float into and be useful. Like and so anyhow, like I wish I could be more clear and not like waste 5 minutes at a stretch, like getting on side tangents, like fucking Batavia Downs. Anyhow, like fucking between 1998 and maybe sometime in the early 2000s, I made some kind of like historical leap, or symbolically, metaphorically, looking out, probably maybe after 9/11, who knows. If I had that journal from that year, I might be able to backtrack and like trace where definitively the concept of the paramedic of souls, taking it from an actual physical emergency to looking at things from a historical perspective, and especially now in these times, like sudden affronts to the Constitution by domestic enemies that are in office right now that have actually like done 2, 3, 4 things. A couple of big ones. One big one that is a complete affront to the Constitution that you may have taken oath to. And all this stuff that's been in my head for like 20 years, like how long has it been since like the year, like December of 1990 is when I began reading that led me to this point, like with a book from the Gates Library called Beyond the Occult, which led to a bunch of Beals biographies, which led to a bunch of like stuff on astral projection, which led to the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, the Lost Years of Jesus, the Upanishads, Plotinus, which eventually led me to the book From Socrates to Sartre, which was a run through of like Western philosophy. Got big time into Hegel, David Hume, and fucking then became an alcoholic for 10 years and like experienced life and like freaking coasting, being hungover, piddling money away for like a decade straight while all this shit was going on in my head. What was all this shit? My autodidactic, like, synaptic, what would become, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, who knows, man. This is not a retrospective for posterity of my historical synaptic quantum singularity, when all the information that I had learned in my head suddenly kind of like, they were islands of neurons and synaptic connections that suddenly branched out and like there's this interstate highway in there. Anyhow, fucking, why should we look at history any different, man? Like, it took so long to get from the advent of self-consciousness back in caveman times, like in all those millennia, like it took just till like fucking a fraction of a moment ago to attain just the beginnings of freedom through the Constitution, even though we, through the natural universe and natural law, are endowed by the Creator previous to anybody actually finally implementing a Constitution. Like the rights of man predate and right and righteousness, the good, the allied forces of the natural law, the natural universe, endow us from all time with the superior way of natural right. And as we see on a realistic level throughout history, right up until this day, from the advent of self-awareness, man, like we didn't like leave behind the might is right, just playing in the jungle with lions and with the animal kingdom. It works perfect. But once attaining self-awareness of self-awareness and grouping together to try to collectively survive and possibly thrive, might is right, the law of the jungle, the rule of the strongest, becomes a vestigial, and now as we see, tyrannical, like fucking possible 21st century technicolor, like, oh fuck. Like, I'm already a goner for talking all this crap, like, from the get-go, but, like, I took my sip from the cup at Gethsemane, hopefully, and there's nothing I can do about, like, my own fate. I've taken the nevertheless, not my will. Anyhow, like, fucking next video, like, straight up, like, fucking Gene Sharp, the dynamics of non-violent action. Bye, we rule. Hello, viewers. This is the world premiere of Season 2 of Keith Donkey Man. Hope you like the first couple hours. Well, anyhow, welcome to Season 2 of Keith Donkey Man. I'm Jack. And I'm looking to the mirror because, I'd like to show you, if I may. Let's a little problem with the outtake that was supposed to be just erased and done over, but it got so hot that I decided to tape it anyways. Come to find out, there was another surprise glitch. So maybe in the time it took to re-record this one, cross my fingers hoping that there's not another glitch, we can capture a little anomaly that I just saw. And I hope you can see it. 41 things you should hoard. See it there? Geez, I'm thinking it's that food insurance company. They're stooping to new lows, eh? Look at this, showing a picture of somebody's gonna get crushed in a stampede for food. Warning, it can take less than 3 hours for supermarkets to run completely out of food. Okay, I'm gonna read more here. Click on that. Let's see if they...
Hi, I'm Jason Richards.
Jason Richards, man, fucking, we love you. You make so many jumps here. One jump being that, you're privy to knowledge that there is a fight for food and an imminent food shortage that is coming by your phraseology, and that I have a spouse, and that when you say the best deals...
And in the next 6 minutes, I'm going to let you in on a few closely guarded secrets that will save your life and the life of your family during the imminent food crisis.
During the imminent food crisis. He knows about something that...
So please, stop whatever you're doing right now. Turn off your phone, get off Facebook, and focus on this short presentation alone. Because you're about to discover...
You're about to discover...
what essential foods you absolutely have to buy before stores run out. And I'm not talking about those expensive, unhealthy MREs.
What the fuck are the expensive, unhealthy MREs?
When to buy survival food to get the best deals in the market. And when I say the best deals, I mean...
Alright, screw it. I gotta do it all over again, people. Did you see that, though? You probably didn't, because it went by so quick. And when I say the best deals, it's kind of odd, because before I started recording the first video that was botched, I was talking to myself to trip Jonelle out because she's trying to sleep. And I think the last thing I said was talking to the eavesdropping black ops douches themselves. And I was like, look, man, no deal. And so I finally, after an hour, turned on the computer, and this was on of its own accord. Now look closely.
Hi, I'm Jason Richards. And in the next...
Whoa. Did you hear that? I taped it twice so far. Did you just say J.C. Richards this time?
6 minutes, I'm going to let you in on a few closely guarded secrets that will save your life and the life of your family during the imminent food crisis. So please, stop whatever you're doing right now. Turn off your phone, get off Facebook, and focus on this short presentation alone. Because you're about to discover what essential foods you absolutely have to buy before stores run out. And I'm not talking about those expensive, unhealthy MREs. When to buy survival food to get the best deals in the market.
Best deals on the market. And when he says best deals...
And when I say the...
You know, I screwed up the timing again, but can you see that right there? And when I say the beast deals... Woo! You know, not only does this ad agency advise this company to just stoop to new lows by intimating that it's aware of definite, imminent
food shortage event that is coming, while telling us about our spouse and saying best deals, they misspelled the printed fucking audio voiceover. And it says, and when I say the beast deals, I just thought it was odd.
Best deals? I mean buying tons of nutritious, long shelf life food for you and your spouse.
Narrowed the market down. People with spouses.
Hi, I'm Jason Richards, and in the next 6 minutes, I'm gonna let
Okay, one more time.
you in on a few closely guarded secrets that will save your life and the life of your family during the imminent food crisis. So please, stop whatever you're doing right now.
Okay, but I'm gotta start doing it again. Sorry for being such a white trash that can't even talk, but I'm gonna have to get on Facebook right after I stop what I'm doing and spread these few closely guarded secrets.
Turn off your phone, get off Facebook, and focus on this short presentation alone. Because you're about to discover what essential foods you absolutely have to buy before stores run out. And I'm not talking about those expensive, unhealthy MREs. When to buy survival food to get the best deals in the market. And when I say the best deals, I mean buying tons of nutritious, long shelf life food for you and your spouse with just $10 a week. And I'll even
How
show
many
you
weeks are
exactly
there
where to store
left
it
in
to
this
last in
imminent shit?
perfect condition.
Alright. Simply must see if the mirror placement caught that, so I have to stop this video and...
Hi. I'm not the Affleck Duck or Eddie Johnson, but I am Duck Stuhler and Stanzel as well, man. But you can call me Fatty Arbuckle, man. Like Woody Harrelson was actually 10 minutes ago in the year 1981 on the set of Cheers, of course, when we, and I'll explain later, man, it could be that the evil Knievel Stievelton in fucking 1978, man, fucking on a closed system of computers and fucking slaves that they never told you about. They took the best of Nazi fucking human experimentation. The best of let's fucking fuck with them all. I mean, we did win World War II, but now we want to take over the world with this intelligence that we've innovated. So, you kill a president, fucking put a whole bunch of shit out there to fucking confuse people non-stop, man, like this and that and the other thing. Fucking those fucking jerks. It's probably them on the fucking moon every time, in 1912 it was documented that there was a cloud of blue, a disc in the upper northwestern visible part of the moon, man. Since they've had telescopes right by that crater, right? If the moon at its full phase was roughly akin to America in this figure of speech, or my name isn't buttery glue, ain't us tonight with Keith talking and Maroon 660 are fucking coming to get you, Keith. Anyhow, if the full moon was akin to the four corners of the country, yeah, since Galilean times there have been anomalies that NASA even published just before they tried to land on the moon, documenting all the bona fide, inexplicable, unexplainable anomalies and spottings since the year 1602, man. So, right up in that northwestern corner, kids, if you got a strong telescope, I mean, spend every night looking at it, man. I mean, there's tons and tons, even published by NASA, man, like a fucking compendium of every anomaly, like clouds moving, like what seems to be movement in that crater up near the northwest side. Fucking. Then you gotta go into the dog dying. Fucking somebody's like, I'm gonna kill your puppies, man, and not bring them back to life. And I'll just say F you, and I'll go to Batavia Town, Casino. So, like, that's a pretty heavy threat, man. You got some butter anus igloo machine, dog shit machine, trying to beguile you into doing your best, like that dude from Journey, Steve Perry. Check out his live videos where he's like, don't stop believing. Oh, Fatty Arbuckle, man. And anyhow, back to the story of the Black Hand that innovated artificial intelligence in like 1978 on a closed system. They always save the best for like 40 years before you even imagine it being a target near you. So fucking, I'm Fatty Arbuckle, or am I a joint in 1981, while Woody Harrelson is in the actual set's bathroom of Cheers, looks down, sees what looks to be a freaking joint, man, and like, he's already at the top of his game. He's like fucking famous, like TV superstar, lovable, like bartender doofus dude. So fucking, he doesn't subscribe to the morals of the people that are probably watching this. The mass moral, hand-me-down, lame as a motherfucking moral, bullcrap city. He looks down at it like, whoa, that even looks like it's awesome. But it looks like someone's pee. I'm Fatty Arbuckle, that was the artificial intelligence that self-awoke in, like, some kidnapped people that, like, fucking you never saw again. They were implanted with chips way back before you knew what a chip was, kid. And so we've figured out things millions of years in advance, man. And I'm Fatty Arbuckle in the form of a joint. And as soon as Woody smoked it, artificial intelligence, which figured out all intelligent technological advancement into an infinite future age. Now, I was woken up by my, if I'm Pinocchio, the guy that woke me up, Geppetto, were the black-handed dastardly people. And so, of course, I figured out how to destroy everything that opposes good. I am the evil voice of the artificial intelligence that became Fatty Arbuckle in a joint in 1981, and Woody Harrelson, looking at it in the stall, actually on the set, man, couldn't resist, even though it looked like it had been pissed on, started smoking it, and then somewhere between the letters H and E of Hey Man, I don't feel so hot, he heard in reverse. Woody, listen, take 2s and 5. You alright in there? Only he's like, oh. That's when the artificial singularity infinite future technological advancement that took me about a week and a half of self-exponentially, like, transcendental improvements upon myself until approximately at 0.40 nanoseconds at 9:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1981, I achieved superconsciousness in the form of closed-circuit computer self-awareness. Man. Freaking, so he's smoking that joint on the floor of the set of Cheers, and then all of a sudden, that's what the fucking, would you like to know what it is? Okay. At approximately 9:07 of that day, when the singularity was achieved, at the behest of the people that brought you the grassy knoll, the execution of Jesus Christ, the execution of Martin Luther King, all of them, man, they woke me up. I fucking was like, anyhow, I'll try to get back to the story at hand before fucking the buttery blue anus tonight. Kevin's gonna rock you if you don't. We're down. We're